If you are using Windows and getting to the stage of having to work with lots of open apps at the same time, you might want to think about using the virtual desktop feature in Windows to help you with those. It allows you to group your apps in productive ways and is easy to set up. If you want to learn how to do that, keep watching. Before we start, it is worth mentioning that if you are only trying to manage a small number of applications, you might be better off using standard keyboard shortcuts like Alt-Tab. I've already done a video on this called Keyboard Shortcuts for Windows, and it is showing on the screen at the moment. There is a link to this in the description, and you may wish to watch that first before this one. If, however, your Windows life is filled with stress with too many apps open, and too little screen space to fit it all in, you have come to the right place. Here is an example of my screen. I am using 3 virtual desktops. One is set up for the internet, one is set up for my file organization, and one is set up for software development. I can easily move between them by pressing Ctrl Windows and either the left or right key to move between them. The rest of the video explains how I set this up. There are 2 ways to set up a virtual desktop, either by using only the keyboard or by using the Task View button next to the Windows Start key, which your finger is pointing out now. Pressing the Task View button with the mouse is the same as pressing Windows and Alt on the keyboard. I will do the latter because I am lazy and don't want to move my hand unless I have to. If you don't have a Task View button, I will cover how to get that back later in the video. Once I press that, I am into Task View, as you can see here. You will see at the top of the screen there is a new desktop icon that I can press. When I do that, I get a new virtual desktop. Let's create a third one as well. Now, when I go back to the desktop by clicking on one of these, everything looks the same, but I can now move between the 3 of them by using the Ctrl Windows, then left or right keys. Note that anything I have placed on the desktop is available on all of the 3 virtual desktops. These don't look very interesting at the moment as there isn't anything on them. Let's go to the first one again and add some web pages, an app from the Windows Store, and I will start up my code development software tool. As you can see, my screen is now very full of apps. Let's decide I'm going to put the internet pages on the first screen, the App Store screen on the second page, and the software development on the third page. To do this, I go back into the task view by using the Win Tab keys, and then I can see the virtual desktops at the top of the screen. When I hover over the first screen, all of the apps I have opened can be seen below. I can move these to another desktop by dragging and dropping them, as can be seen here. Now I have done that, I can go back to the first desktop by clicking on it, and as I move through the desktops from left to right using the Windows Control and left or right keys, I get to each of the virtual desktops. That is basics of what virtual desktops are all about. In the next section I will cover a few more advanced topics that may be of interest. We talked earlier about the Task View button to the right of the Windows button. If you can't see the Task View button, right-click on an unused part of the taskbar and a menu will pop up. Click the Show Task View line and you should be in business. It is possible to name the virtual desktops when you're in Task View. Right-click on one of the desktops and a Rename option will come up. Notice that this, in Windows 10 anyway at the time of this video, is only visible in Task View. It isn't visible on the desktop itself. These names and the total number of desktops you have chosen are kept through a shutdown and restart, but the apps themselves will be closed when you shut down, as would be the case if you only had the one desktop. It is also possible to create a desktop without going into Task View. If you press the Windows Control keys then hit D, a new desktop will be created immediately and Windows will jump to it. If you now open the apps you want to use on this screen from the taskbar, It will avoid you having to go into the task view at all. If you did find this video useful, please consider hitting the like button, and if you would like to see more videos of this type in the future, please consider subscribing. See you soon!